Hi, good morning, everyone. I think the topic today was quite interesting, where we wanted to kind of talk about, beyond all the world of algorithms, data, which we all like kind of are seeing in our everyday lives, and it's impacting what we see, what we consume, what is building our influences, to a little more the softer sides of maybe brand building, softer sides of engagement, so on and so forth. So I think maybe just for the next 1 minute, it'll be great if each of them can take a minute to just quickly introduce themselves, but also maybe talk about, each of them are founders, creators, and maybe have seen a couple of cycles of, brand building in the country. How have they seen that evolve? Maybe just taking a 10 to 12 year view, not more than that. So Nikita, we can start with you.
Okay, on.
Yeah.
Is it on? Yeah, okay. Great. So my name is Nikita. I am the founder of Moxie Beauty, which is a hair care company. We're pretty young, not yet 1 year old. So I haven't seen multiple cycles, but definitely I think in terms of how things have changed, though I've started building my own company in this time of the creator economy and building in public, which I suppose is something that we can talk about later in the session. The entire conversation is different now around media. I think it's not just that the media has changed or the frequency of interaction has changed. That is also there, but the very nature of interaction is different, right? It is a dialogue. Every day you're in dialogue with your customer. It's a two-way conversation between you and them, and you are also privy to the peer-to-peer conversation that is happening between the audience where you are not necessarily an active participant. Both of these things didn't used to exist, right? So it's not just that you have to show up authentically as a brand because people expect to have that access, but you are privy to very deep insight. You can form a relationship that's not purely transactional, right? And these are very powerful things. So, I mean, I think it's the best time to be building a brand, really, because you didn't have the option to do any of this before the digital age.
Hey guys, my name's Arjun Vaidya. I founded a company called Dr. Vaidya's and was a founder till 2.5 years ago. Now run a VC fund called V3 Ventures. I think the topic of today's conversation actually is very interesting because we've moved into a new age of relationship and engagement of consumer with brand, right? So before we got on stage, actually, I was just talking to Nikita. At Rakhi, my cousin showed me a pouch of Moxie Beauty and said, I love this brand, and I love this brand because this founder comes in front of the camera and talks about curly hair, and I relate to her and I love her product, right? And I think I started up 2016, 17, when the world was a different place, when digital brands were just starting, and the way that we marketed was a little bit more traditional. We used to use a lot of stock imagery. Now stock imagery is like, if a customer sees stock imagery, they see straight through it, right? We used to use all stock imagery. We used to dream that we could get a celebrity brand ambassador at some point, and that would be the aspiration and the goal. Today, actually, it's become, like, as customers, all of us see so much ads, so many brands. We see through something that's paid. And so I would say authenticity is the need of the hour. I suffered from asthma growing up, and my grandfather's Ayurvedic treatment cured me of asthma. And so I put an ad where I was in the ad saying this story, and that was one of the most high-performing ads of Dr. Vaidya's. I'm a consumer of good bug, and when Prabhu and Keshav come in front of the camera, then I know users get enticed. And over the last maybe 15 months, 16 months, I was advising all my portfolio companies, because now I'm an investor, to come in front of the camera. So I started a journey quite recently, maybe 15, 16 months ago, coming in front of the camera just to understand this algorithm so I can educate my brands and putting up some content on Instagram and LinkedIn. And it's been an interesting journey, so we'll talk through that as well.
Hi, my name is... It's on, right? Yeah. Hi, my name is Aaina. I'm a content creator. Of all the people who are sitting there, I have to be on camera. I don't have an option. And when I started to create content, the idea wasn't to be this person that I've become today, or how the content creation what content creation has become today. It just started as something that I was enjoying and putting it out there. It started with fashion, then beauty, travel, it all encapsulated all that. And I think it's so important right now to be in this space for the brands per se. It's how they reach out to people, how do I get to know about brands, and when they collaborate with somebody like me, I'm able to put the message across. This is what it stands for. Sometimes it's through the Instagram ads I find brands. I was just telling Prabhu myself that I am a 𝐤𝐳𝐫𝐞 customer, regular customer. I'm trying his detox drink. I was just informing him that. And yeah, it's, I think, very important to be in front of camera and convey the message about what the brand is, how I use it, and not just me as a content creator, as brands, and as users also, right? I mean, you see a lot of people just coming on the Instagram pages or other social media platforms and sharing good or bad experiences.
Hi, my name is Prabhu, the co-founder of the Good Bug. I think I've seen quite a few cycles. I think when I started out, I probably might have bought spots on Rangoli way back 25 years ago. And things have definitely changed. Quite a few things have changed. Quite a few things have not changed as well. I think the fact that you have to be consumer first, think consumer, be the, you know, that really is the sole focus of a consumer brand. And that has never changed. It's always the same. Today we use words like product market fit, but those days we used to say things like, how do we differentiate? How do we stay relevant? How do we build loyalty? Those things don't change. They keep evolving. You never achieve product market fit. Coca-Cola is still trying to figure out product market fit. But a lot of things have changed. Distribution has changed. At every time there was a wave of new distribution that came in, there were new opportunities, the new challenges. Modern trade came in, there were opportunities, there were threats. You know, cable TV came in, suddenly television got fragmented, there were opportunities. You were able to build geo-focused businesses, but you can't achieve scale. And then today we have, you know, e-commerce, we have, you know, social media and Meta driving the entire medium. So obviously even those offer opportunities, but also have challenges. But it's still the same. It is consumer first thinking. And I think that's what's going to drive the business. That's what I think about.
Great, yeah, thank you. I think so 2-3 words I picked up, right? So authenticity in content creation, how do you really kind of, you know, relate, and relatability maybe coming from really true stories. So I think question to both, I think maybe Prabhu and Nikita, you know, I think a lot of people in the room may or may not have seen you on the camera, creating content about your own brands, you know, telling your stories. So maybe if you could just share a little bit the motivation behind creating that content, as well as, let's say, in your journey, you know, as you kind of measure things, you know, how have those pieces of content performed vis-a-vis others? How has that messaging really changed the game in terms of your content player?
Sure. So I think I've already met a few people outside before entering the room who also were like, oh yes, I've seen you on Instagram. So sorry about that, everyone, about the intrusive videos. But I think the decision, right, that's an interesting question to reflect on why we did it. It's because it was based in the truth. So like, you know, we've launched now, our website is live, we need to drive traffic there, get those first few hundred customers, and it made sense for us to talk about that story because we are a purpose-led brand. The genesis of Moxie is based in, you know, my own journey with my hair. So it's a true story. And that felt like the right way to introduce the brand to people. Did we intend to be so founder first in all of our communication? I think initially maybe not. But that is how things have played out because, you know, like Arjun shared, and that's such a lovely story. Thank you for sharing that. It works so well to the point that, you know, to answer your second question, when we're, you know, looking at our videos, our creatives, trying to see what's doing well, we have to remove the founder creatives. Otherwise, the top 10 will always be things with, with me in them. It's like, what else, you know, when we're trying to A/B test and learn. And the reason for that, I think, is just authenticity. And I know we're talking about that, but it makes a huge difference. The young consumer does not trust a faceless corporation, right? Or anything that looks fake or paid. They just zone out. They will scroll away. Not trust, matlab, they will not even engage. Oh, that content, the hook rate is so poor, nobody's watching it, right? That's not what they've come to the platform for. I think there is a place for that, definitely, but social is not that place. That is where people are coming to either, you have to educate, you have to entertain, you have to inspire. That's what you have to do. And selling has to be a byproduct of that. I think the other thing that comes from this that we didn't anticipate is it really opens up that dialogue that I spoke about. So we get so many DMs every day from people who relate, who think this is someone who's been through something similar, and then they'll, you know, send a photograph of their hair and be like, you know, this is what I'm struggling with, what do you suggest? Now, people don't want to message a brand. They want to message a person, a human being, right, who will be able to give them some advice. So a lot of them are addressed to me by my name, right? And people remember that. They remember the story, they remember the name, the face. So it adds a human element and trust, and kind of helps you to start building that community in a way that I don't think we'd anticipated initially. But it certainly works well, but it has to be true. I'd spoken to the founder of Mokobara a few weeks ago, and he said, like, it can't be a fake story, right? Whatever you do, people will see through that also. So it's been kind of the gift that keeps on giving. So we've gone ahead, but I think I can't say, in all honesty, that we always intended to be so founder first. It's just, it's such an asset, right? And we have it. I was even speaking to Sameer Singh from Unilever, who's now an angel investor in Moxie. He was saying, you know, as large companies, we can't do this, right? So please ensure that you harness the fact that you are a team of young women, and you as the founder can come and speak to people directly, because, you know, I wish, he's like, I'm itching to be able to do this with the new brands in our portfolio, but, you know, it's just, it's absolutely impossible. So yeah, it's more than anything else, it is just authenticity and relatability.
Absolutely, it is authenticity. And it's not like it's not been done before. If you look at Kentucky Fried Chicken, you'll see the guy, General, right? If you look at South Retail, you'll see their faces right there as part of the logo and branding. It's always been done, but in the old television first, you know, mediums, when it was there, people knew that they were watching an ad. I'm sitting down on TV, I know that I'm seeing an ad. And therefore, it was always about as much drama that you can build. You know? That's how communication or advertising was made. The funniest ad, or the to be an ad. But as social started to build, as these mediums started to build, it's no more, they think of it as I'm speaking to a person. It's more personal, and they're not expecting to be seeing an ad. I think that's changed the language completely, and therefore authenticity, being real, makes a huge difference. And that's where I think, you know, if a founder is out there and talking about the product, I mean, obviously today the medium also allows you to be real, allows you to have long explanations. I mean, obviously you're not an actor, you just say what you can. But it works because authenticity again, and being able to relate to it is what matters. And it's also driven by the medium, I think, a lot. I mean, would I run an ad on you know, mainstream television with me being the
Why not,
actor?
though? Why not?
I'm just saying. So maybe I would, maybe I won't. But it's the medium also that drives it a lot, you know.
Arjun, I think, and you know, you today, you know, work with so many brand founders, you know, and you've built a brand. You're now kind of working across a spectrum of brands and founders, so on and so forth. And I think you mentioned that, you know, you encourage brand founders in your portfolio to kind of come in front of the camera, and bring that authenticity alive. But what is your advice to brand founders to really balance this authenticity with commercial objectives, with growth objectives? How should one think about it really?
See, first thing I'll say is that, like, as an early stage brand, anyway you can't afford a brand ambassador, right? Like, that's clear. took my business to some reasonable scale, I still didn't think I could afford the brand ambassador that I wanted. And the reason behind that is, one, it's expensive. Two, what people don't realize is that you have to spend 5x or 10x the cost of that brand ambassador to amplify the campaign as well. So it becomes even more expensive. Now on the reason you do this, right? It should not be fame. It's very easy to get consumed into these numbers and metrics, and when you start doing all this content creation, you get lots of views, then people start recognizing you, you put some money behind it, you see like 100K views, million views. No, right? Like, as a founder who's doing this for your brand, you should have a clear objective. And the objective could be top of funnel for your brand. It could be sales for your brand. It could be authenticity to explain your product. But there is a fine line behind just getting views for getting views and getting views for bringing something that's relevant to your brand. I'll give you an example, or I'll maybe try to explain this a little bit further, right? See, any trending topic that you put on any social media platform will generate lots of visibility. But that visibility will not generate high quality engagement, follows, the quality of audience that does a sticker tap to click and go to your website, etc. So it's tempting once you start falling for or going into these numbers to do stuff just for numbers. But at the end of the day, as a founder, as a person who's doing this for an objective, that objective has to be really kept in mind, right? And so for Prabhu, he may have to talk about complicated things related to gut health instead of talking about the most trending topic on social media, and that may get 1/10 of those views, but at the end of the day, that's the objective he set out to do. And the problem with straying from the objective is then the user who's following you or viewing you gets confused what they have to come to you for, and then eventually you lose that sort of key opinion leader status, right? So I think it's important to create authentic content, it's important to create content that works, it's important to create content that people understand, but don't just chase the numbers of vanity metrics, of fame and of views, because as a brand, when you're doing this, the objective has to be very clear.
So I know, today so many brands approach you, they approach you to create content. The brand gives you an objective in terms of what they want to drive with that, content asset. Now this conversation with authenticity, in your opinion, how should one think about balancing it when you're creating content, right? In terms of keep it authentic, but it will have and maybe drive a particular objective, vis-a-vis, let's say, a brand wanting to drive a completely different objective, and then you maybe having your own objective of growing your base, followers, engagement, so on and so forth. So how should one think about this?
I was just telling Nikita, I'm a very uninfluencer-like influencer, if you may. I'm not very big on following Instagram trends, and that's how I have developed my niche audience. They still come to my page, engage with my content, because they are not looking for a trend that is trending on Instagram. And I wish a lot of people I work with are like these guys, because so many times I get these watertight briefs. You cannot go, oh, you missed an here or the here, and I'm always fighting for that. I said, because then I lose my voice. If I'm reading, learning, and speaking about something, it's going to come across like that. And if it's a product I've not used, it's a new product, it's a new launch, I wouldn't know a lot about it. And it's always a fight with them. So it's very important for me, at least, is to keep my voice authentic and my content not very sold out, if you may.
Can I ask you a question on that? So I think it's an interesting point you brought up, and most of us here in this room as well as on this stage come from the brand side or the business side, right? And we have to engage with creators all the time to push our message across. Now, there is a fine line between pushing your message too much and then not pushing your message at all, right? And so then sometimes, like, I've been in situations where I had to sell a product that's a kid's product, let's say, for example, I had a Chyawanprash toffee. And so I went to a mom influencer and I said, roll with it. Do whatever you want, just integrate my product somehow. and the video came out as the mother playing with the kid, like just playing with toys, and then randomly at the end the toffee came out. And so then the toffee wasn't the hero of the video performed. But then in other times I'm giving a script and then the person is reading the script and it's clear that it's paid. So what do you as a creator want to tell brand folks like us, like how do we come to you with a brief that makes sense, and how do we give you enough flexibility while still getting our message?
Thank you for making me say this, because I've been wanting to say this to a lot of you guys, is you need to find a fine balance. What is your objective? What is your brief? It never needs to be watertight, but you can always tell this is the outcome I'm looking at. Can you tell the story your way? You know, it could be the mom playing with the kid and then giving Chyawanprash and maybe seeing the difference in her own way. It could have been like a 2-day, 3-day story she could have come out with. I wouldn't know exactly how that would function. So yeah, not watertight brief, be very, very clear about the objective of what is it that you want to get out of that campaign. If it's just a launch and then you just want to put across a message, hey, this is what we've launched and this is what it does, then let it be there. You know, don't make it like, let's just do this, like try and get like 10 characters of the product, launch, everything in one video. It becomes very preachy in the end. You wouldn't want a preachy video. None of us likes to watch a very preachy video, or for that matter, very frivolous video as well around the brand. So it has to be a very fine balance, authentic, and also be very clear when you're hiring a creator to create some content for you. Just do your research well. That's my pet peeve with brands. I have seen just for example, say a Fab India working with a very, I would sit and wonder, is this their target audience that they are trying to reach? Because sometimes brands reach out. If it's not even brands directly, it's the people in between, the influencer marketing agencies, they don't do the research well. That's my pet peeve. Sometimes I tell the brands, I am not the person you should be reaching out to, because I will not reach out to your target audience. I'm not even talking to them. My content is not 18-year-olds content.
I want to add to this. I think it's really strange if you don't have the creator speak in their voice. That's the whole point. You are going to a platform. This is every creator is a publisher now, right? A media platform with an engaged audience that knows them, that recognizes their voice. Like at this point when we are looking at creators to partner with, this girl on my team will literally, she'll look at the engagement and be like, this must be a brand collab, 𝐤𝐴𝐺𝐻𝐿 𝐸𝐺𝐿 𝐾, right? Where it's the fake story thing. So the whole point is that there is an audience here that knows this person, that will recognize their voice. So while it has to be your story, it absolutely, the treatment of it absolutely has to be in their voice, otherwise you are not going to achieve what you were trying to. And I think there's another angle to this, which as a brand, we think about a lot, because currently, like our first range is for a certain hair type. It's for wavy and curly hair, and it's a little complicated because it's a new age use case. People need to be able to even identify their own hair type, figure out how to use the product. So it comes back to sales 101, right? Authenticity cannot be at odds with commercial objectives. They have to work together, because that's the only way to build trust in the long term. They say, right, you should never sell something to somebody who doesn't need it. It will maybe achieve a short-term objective, but in the long run, it will come back to bite you. So it's very important that you do that, because you then need to find the right audience, as Aaina said, and ensure that the right communication goes, so that only the person who will derive value from your product. You've made something good, you're solving a real problem, but the person who's facing that problem, who will derive that value, only that person should buy. If somebody else buys your product, that will hurt your brand. So it makes no sense, right? And like, you know, the vanity metrics that Arjun spoke about, it's very easy to get lost in all of that, but we are so particular that if somebody doesn't have frizzy hair, they don't have a flyaway in sight, please do not ask them to talk about Moxie, because people need to be really clear what problem we are solving. And if we randomly start going to everybody, the message will get lost, the brand will lose its authenticity, and that is at odds with, you know, trying to build a sustainable long-term business.
So I think, Prabhu, just to take that point forward, right? And I think what Nikita was saying, that at the end of the day, the authenticity is important, and the story needs to feel real. I know you and your brand really did a series where you got customers themselves to become creators and create content around it. If you could share a little bit about, you know, how that did and what was the motivation behind it.
Absolutely, and going back a little bit, I think it is also about what each piece of what we want to do with each piece of communication and how, for example, we've run ads where an expert came and explained the idea of gut science without even calling out the brand or without even a pack shot or without even a mention of the good bug, and that worked really well for us. We've had at the other end real consumers coming and talking about the actual experiences. They were all 2.5, 3 minute long videos where they were just going on, and it was truly authentic, which was on the other side. But we've also run straightforward, told a creator, hey, we want you to go up there and say, this is the script, you go and hand it out. You say it. So we've done all of that. And I think each of those pieces of communication have a purpose. It's sometimes practically running advertising, practically running a brand. It can't be that, hey, I won't do this, I won't do that. I think each of these play a role. If Sameera Reddy comes on and talks about the brand, yes, she's tried it, but there is a certain script to it because we have to find a way to communicate the whole message in about 30, 40, 50 seconds. Therefore, some amount of crafting needs to be done. But a real consumer talking about the true experiences, and I think these are the things that layer and build a brand. Because the consumer at every point in the funnel, the consumer at every point in her decision making sees different kinds of communication and is able to form a holistic idea of the brand. But to your point, and going back to the thing about authenticity, true, real experiences can massively make a difference to your brand, and I think every brand should find that in their brand language, and we did that with something called True Stories, where we just got, I think I personally did about 120 interviews, where I would invite consumers and we would have half-an-hour chats, me behind the camera, and I would just ask them questions, and we taped it all, and we went live with that, and they did extremely well for us, and it really works.
Arjun, you've been part of the content creator economy as well, yourself personally. And you understand the brand side, the economic side, the investment side. And I think every brand founder here knows the fact that, you release a new content asset, it performs in a certain way. And as you kind of keep seeing it, you see the engagement rate dropping in some sense. And therefore, this idea where, you need new content assets, you need to almost treat it as a machine. But at the same time, you have this idea where authenticity is important and freshness on content is also important. What would you advise to all the founders in terms of how should one think about it? How should one balance it? Is there a right way, or we are all learning? What's your thought around?
Yeah, look, actually, the reason I started putting videos on Instagram was because I thought this Reels thing was really effective for brands, for organic reach. So I would keep on telling my founders in my portfolio, just founder friends outside as well, do it. And they were like, you're saying do it, but you to write on LinkedIn all the time, so how is this relevant, right? So I said, okay, chal, let me give it a shot and see what happens. And I learned some things along the way. I think the first thing I learned is like, you got to own your own distribution. So you'll see lots of brand pages where there are reasonable followers, but also lots of views on videos. Every time you see those views, it's a collab post. And so, like, let's say, for example, you have 10K followers on your brand page and you tie up with an influencer with 1 million followers, you do a collab post, that video will get 150,000 views. They're lending their audience to you. Like 1% or less of that audience will be interested or engaged, and that's it, right? So that video may have 100K views and your name may be there, but it's not yours. So owning the distribution is crucial. That means that you have to do something replicable that you can continue doing that will get engagement. The second thing is that you can't be lazy. So I'm very lazy actually about shooting my content. I only shoot once in 45 days and I only shoot at my house. And it worked for 1 year and things were fine, and I got good views and stuff like that. And then my page got stuck at 199,000 Instagram followers for the last 4 months. Clearly someone's telling me, dude, get out of your house and put some effort, right? So basically, the reality is that customers have access to lots of content. Like, they see lots of ads, you go to a grocery store, you see lots of products. On the web or on the app now, like swipe right and swipe left for dating apps, swipe up and swipe down, and there's somebody else doing it, right? So you got to put in the effort. I think, like, when it comes to freshness, I would say that you can't overdo the freshness part. That means, like, change your clothes every video when you're recording, like 15 videos, you change 15 t-shirts, not to that level. But periodically, when you start seeing that the audience is bored or has stopped engaging, and I'm not a big proponent of reading every little piece of data, but just like understanding what the customer is saying through the comments and the DMs, etc., all of that. If there isn't freshness or there isn't excitement, then you got to just switch things around. The great part about this is you got to be okay to experiment, right? Like, you try 3 videos. What's the worst that can happen? You won't get views, right? Like, before you start, you're like, oh my God, if it doesn't get views, should I do it at all, etc., all of that. Once you start doing it, the worst that can happen is you won't get views. So I think, like, I'm lazy, don't be lazy, and maybe I'll stop being lazy as well. But build a replicable activity that's yours and owned by you. Yes, you can consistently have creators come in and build even more from you, but your own audience and your own distribution is the most crucial.
And just adding on about this whole thing about freshness, I mean, there used to be a time 10 years back, we used to make one ad, the whole team will work on it 3 months, 4 months, all the agencies, big box guys think about one ad and run it for 3 years. And that's all it would take. But we're speaking about beyond the algorithm, but it is completely algorithm. That freshness of a creative doesn't last a few weeks now, which means absolutely you can't be lazy. You have to continue to get content going. If you have to stay in the same place, forget growing, which means that you have to work with creators and be able to continue to drive and generate content. I think freshness and algorithm and content creators.
I think there's also a piece around, my co-founder Anmol always obsesses a lot about this, that the value you're adding, the strategy has to remain constant, right? For instance, I will educate, suppose, you know, and this will keep changing over the life cycle of the brand. But within that, there will be IPs, right? Content IPs. There'll be a series. Maybe there's one that will go on for the whole 3 months. Maybe there's one where you do, you know, 10 episodes. So episodic content. So the freshness is there because, maybe a bad example, but let's say action movies ke andar, like I saw the John Wick series and I saw, you know, whatever else. I don't have other names. But Jack Reacher, whatever. So the value has to be consistent. You know, there's an audience that's interested in action movies, but you don't keep showing them the exact same narrative, the exact same characters. Similarly, when it comes to us, even if we say, okay, I want to educate, I want to give people a consistent enough reason to follow, so that when they look at the feed, they see, they like something, they're like, okay, this page does this a lot, and therefore I should hit the follow button and I'll keep consuming this content. So you can't do too many things. If you're doing 10 things, it's not showing up often enough in the grid for them to hit that follow button, and that's the gold standard. But for you then to keep freshness, just within that, right? Within educational content, or let's say we're doing relatability. Within relatability, there are so many different things you can do while still keeping it episodic, right? You don't have to ride every trend. But I think if you keep that value that you're giving, right? Are you entertaining? Are you Zomato? Are people coming here to get a laugh? Within that, you have to just push yourselves, and only young people can do this. Please do not ask people over the age of 30 to think of the content IPs. It's a bad idea. They'll be able to figure it out, right? So I think it doesn't have to get confusing. It doesn't have to get to a place where people are not super clear what value you're adding. It just takes a bunch of 20-somethings. They're truly magical at it.
Guys, we have 10 minutes. If there are any questions from the audience, we can take that, or I can continue. Any questions from anyone? Okay. Guys, so, sorry. Right at the back, okay. Sorry, go ahead, yeah.
So, hello everyone, my name is Samir and I'm building 𝐸𝐴𝐚, which is AI-powered influencer marketing platform. My question is to both the brands as well as the influencers. We are doing the discovery, matchmaking, execution, as well as the analytics part on the platform. What else will you be expecting out of this platform?
You said AI, right? And you can just do analytics there? Sorry, I just don't understand the nature of
It's a matchmaking platform, so it'll, let's say you're a brand, you'll come up with a brief, and then you'll say, I want these kind of creators. It'll match like 100 creators, and then you can choose.
So that's the exactly.
Just to add on to what is suggested, it will. You don't need need to write the whole brief. It will create the brief for you using the various LLMs, and it will actually, for both the sides, for brands as well as for the influencers. So we are using AI to do a lot of work for both the sides. What else will you require? That's my question.
Human touch. So exactly what I said. It could pick random with numbers, but how would you choose the right person? You need to, just exactly what I said. It will randomly, I mean, it's basically number matching, right? Am I correct? It's just the numbers. It's not the personality of the creator or the brands being matched or the messaging, how authentically the creator talks about it. So I feel, I don't know, well, I am not a very good person to answer this. I think humans need to be involved when matching brands and creators.
Yeah, we've used this I've used this a bunch of times and I've seen brands use it as well. Just the tech will help with barter campaigns, maybe like large outreach campaigns for sampling, etc., all of that. But when you're doing like real, like I'll pick 2 creators, 3 creators, 1 creator for a big campaign and put a lot of money behind it, you'll need some human touch.
Maybe I think the only thing, as a thought I had for you to think about is, I think, and Arjun mentioned it, that there is a learning curve that happens with every campaign you do, whether, you yourself are featuring as a founder in it, or you're using certain set of creators, or what is the objective and the brief. I think how that learning can potentially be powered through the platform as well to further refine the search, make the engagement better, could be something for you to think about. Yeah.
So just to add to that personal touch piece, like one of the brands here was saying that they want the girls with curly hairs. So this platform can identify which influencer is having curly hairs, and only those will be recommended to the brand.
Sure, sounds good, Go ahead, yeah. So if someone can. Yes, you can talk, yeah, it's fine.
Okay, hi. So we keep talking about digital creators and content creators, and my question is, to understand, how do you find the right content creator for your brand or digital creator? Because you say do research. Now you see a lot of them doing really well, but how do you identify whether, these guys are really good for your brand per se, in terms of, because their videos will give you a lot of views, you see that they have a lot of engagement, or some of them don't have an engagement. So what are the few nuances that we need to look at when we are looking at, identifying these people?
What kind of brand do you have?
So right now, we're looking at candles and perfumes.
Sure, okay.
Which is in the fragrance line.
So, I mean, happy to give you my 2 cents on the way that we think about it. I think even to the previous question, right? When it comes to discovery, shortlisting, there are certain things that are very, very analytical. What you mentioned, if someone doesn't have good engagement, I mean, they're not even a candidate, right? That doesn't help. So you need to make sure that the quantitative criteria are met for someone to even be eligible for the discussion. Everything after that is very subjective. So you will be looking at, the way we'll think about it, the first layer is authenticity. Does this person always speak in their voice? Or as soon as they start talking about a brand, does it become really, really awkward and nobody is interested, right? So do they speak in their voice even if they are telling the brand story? Authenticity is important for us. For example, if right now in the early stages of building our brand, explaining how to use the product is important. Is this person credible? Are they good at going deep on a topic, right? Versus, let's say if I'm doing a campaign that's more lifestyle oriented, how the product integrates into your lifestyle, then you'll be looking for something slightly different, right? So these are more subjective, qualitative things for which you have to engage with their content. You have to look at who is commenting, what questions they are asking, what is doing well. There is no shortcut really to doing this. And then the last layer, I think eventually will just be a personality fit, what Aaina was saying. That is, again, a very soft subjective thing, but it's important. Otherwise, there isn't a consistency in the persona, right, that is talking about your brand. Eventually, I mean, like Arjun was also saying, if it's a mass campaign, if 600, 800 people in 1 month are going to talk about your brand, then maybe not. But in the early stages, even that personality fit, that cultural fit sort of, right? Is this a Moxie girl? Do we feel like this person will represent what the brand stands for? That becomes then the last layer, and that's very difficult to put into words. The founder, I think themselves, I still haven't been able to articulate this sharply enough that people are able to take this decision without me in the room. But you have to do all of this. There's no short answer.
Can I add to this? I feel brands also need to get a little creative. I mean, not just this match, that match. Think outside the box. You know, not just home decor, but if somebody's doing an entirely different section, but how do the aesthetics match with your product? You know, think little outside the box. Just don't do the kundli ka matching, gun milte hai, bas. I mean, think outside the box. Just get creative.
If you take this perfume category at least, like one of my colleagues is a perfume connoisseur. Like he loves perfume and collects perfume. And he's part of this subculture of people who are on WhatsApp groups and just talk about only perfume, right? If you're a brand in that space, immerse yourself in that. Find out the people with, like I remember we had one guy who was a running coach in Bombay. He had some 8,000 followers, but he was a running coach. I'm a runner. So I knew of the guy from Bombay circles, etc. And he's a pacer for the half marathon. He sold much more of my immunity supplement than any creator with 10x, 20x, 100x they reached it. He had only 8,000 followers. But everybody who followed him, at least his 150 people who run with him on a weekly basis, whatever this guy says, they'll do. And so that is actually much more value than anything else that would cost much more money.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question.
Hi, I'm Jabina, and my question is to my favorite content creator, Arjun. My day is never complete without seeing a reel of his and engaging with him. Arjun, you've transitioned beautifully from LinkedIn to Instagram. So what is the difference in your audience and the kind of discussion you're having you see between those two platforms, if any? I'm not sure if there is.
So I think, honestly, I'm not scientific about it. And maybe that's a bad thing, but that's just how I sort of went about it. See, the reason I started making videos on Instagram, honestly, was because people said your LinkedIn, what you write is nice, so you can do it in a video format and try it. And some people are, like my mom is not on LinkedIn, for example. She would say, I'm feeling bad, you wrote a post about me, but I couldn't see it, and stuff. So there's people who don't use our professional networking platform, right? Most of us use it, and our world is on LinkedIn. So I just did the same thing, honestly, to start with, and said the same thing, spoken the same way, etc., and kept it simple. The audience is definitely, the only thing is that given that like you can write 350 words versus speak for 50 seconds or 60 seconds, you can't go that deep into conversation. And so I sometimes feel like the stuff I say on Reels is abrupt. And so I've started using that broadcast list thing where I can write a little bit longer every day. But I didn't think so much about it, and I ended up saying the same thing. And then, you know, when people say, hey, you should talk about this, like sometimes you get DMs of people saying, hey, please, can you make a video about this and stuff? Never performs. I didn't want to talk about it. Someone told me to talk about it, so I spoke about it, and then it just didn't feel right and correct, right? Like, I know one example. This was 3-4 months ago when pickleball was still new. And I loved pickleball, so I said, I want to talk about pickleball, and the guys who helped me with my video editing were like, sir, ye kya hai? Kaun dekhne wala hai pickleball? And then it got like some 2 million views or something like that. But I wanted to talk about it because I played like 2 times a week or something. So I think you just got to be real with what you want to talk about, and I would say don't overthink it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for being a lovely audience. Thanks to all the panelists. I think 2-3 things maybe we can take back, at least what I took back, is authenticity. I think extremely important when it comes to content creation. Be real. And in some sense, everyone is a creator and a performer, right? I think customers are there, creators are there, founders are there. So I think that's the world maybe we are moving towards here. Thank you, everyone.